Shortly after my ex-husband left, I discovered that not only had he been lying to me for years, he had been gaslighting me. He had completely manufactured truths, so to say, that he led me to believe. In fact, almost everything that I believed about our lives was a lie. He even created documents. He faked phone calls. He cut phone wires. His lies saw no boundaries. And recovering from that sort of deception, that extent of deception is so, so difficult for so many reasons. Because gaslighting is more than simply lies. It's lies that are turned around to make you begin to question everything, to make you begin to question yourself. The following are the 10 things that make gaslighting so awful. The first is, by its very nature, anybody who gaslights you is somebody that you've allowed in. It's somebody that you trust. It's somebody that perhaps you saw as your protector, and now you're finding out that instead they're actually your persecutor. Instead of trying to protect you, they're turning everything around to make it look like it's your fault, to make it look like you are the crazy one, just so that they can get away with whatever they want. Gaslighting is often invisible while it's occurring. It's so subtle, intentionally so, that you don't see the signs. And even people outside don't often pick up on the signs. In fact, if anything, they believe the person that's lying about you, and they think that you are the one that's at fault. Gaslighting tarnishes your memories. You will never truly know what's real and what was simply something that you were led to believe. And so it steals your past in a way, because you don't know if it was real. Gaslighting doesn't end when the relationship does. And that's probably one of the harder things about it, is it's like an unending abuse, because what it does is it plants a malignant seed in your brain, a seed that always leaves you questioning, always leaves you wondering, always leaves you doubting. And just because that person is out of your life doesn't mean those doubts are gone. Gaslighting is often a slow build, much like the metaphorical frog who's thrown into a pot of water that's slowly brought to a boil. It builds. And so you end up accepting crazy things that in the beginning you would immediately have noticed as not being true. But it's those little baby steps until it gets to a point that, well, it's overwhelming when you look back at it all. Part of what's so hard about gaslighting is that it's so difficult to explain it to others. And in fact, when we try to explain what happened, we often feel crazy. We sound crazy because that's what that person wanted. And that moment when you find somebody that believes you, it's powerful. After you've been gaslighted, words they're pretty meaningless, because you've experienced words being used simply to manipulate you. You've experienced words being used as a weapon against you. And so you don't believe them anymore. They're worthless. The only thing that you believe now are actions. And even those can be hard to trust. Now that you've experienced this, you never, ever want to experience it again. And so you analyze and overanalyze everything. You run every conversation, every interaction over and over again through your mind. You're on high alert, and it's so hard to learn to relax again. After being gaslighted, you obviously struggle to trust people. After all, you did trust this person, and they used that trust against you in the worst way possible. But I think the hardest part isn't learning to trust other people. It's learning to trust yourself. Because you've had that turned against you. You've had these seeds of doubt planted in your mind. You were led to believe that things were true that weren't. And so now you question your own sanity, you question your own senses, your own perceptions. Even if you see it, you don't know if it's real or not. And learning to trust yourself again is both the hardest and the most important part of recovering from being gaslighted.